Start.
Good afternoon, morning, and evening, wherever you are. Welcome to our admin catch up for the end of 2023 and kicking off for 2024. I would love to say thank you to all of the very busy admins and moderators and members of 2023, and an enormous welcome to the huge cohort for 2024. Today, we are going to be talking about a few things. First up, we're going to be wrapping up 2023, wrapping up the road trip. We are also going to be doing the draw for the entries that you've all been gathering throughout the year. And then we're going to start talking about the plans for 2024 and what you can expect. We're not going to talk about everything because we understand there is a lot to cover. We will tell you what you need to know to get things started. How about we get things going?
Yes. So in 2023, we have had a really busy year in the main group with lots of events happening every month. And it was been so wonderful to see so many lovely finishes as well as progress. I know that Natalie's enjoyed moderating the finish post every month, and that's going to be continuing for 2024. So keep those finishes coming, keep working on the WIPs, because remember, that's what this whole group is about working on your WIPs and getting your stitching done. We still have a couple of events going. You're more than welcome to keep working your way through the December categories. Letter C, I believe it was, Martha.
Yes.
But Martha has finished the grading for the raffles because obviously that was due to that by today. But you're more than welcome if you want to keep stitching on it, do, because, you know, it's fun to achieve the goals and get some progress on your WIPs. And we've got the Christmas events happening. So the 4 events that are happening at the moment, the Christmas presents under your tree, the festive feast, the Christmas crackers, and the festive holiday tunes. Those events all go until about the 27th of December, and they will actually be getting graded. And the grading for that is going to contribute as an early surprise count towards next year's events. So anyone who is participating in the Christmas events, we'll tell you more about the prizes later, but it is actually going to get graded and counted. So if you've got time to stitch, you may as well have fun. And then right at the end of the year, after the 27th, you have a couple of days off. The road trip will be kicked off and there'll be things to do there, but the main group will wait till December 31st is actually going to be the launch of categories for next year. Sandra, who's taking over from the lovely Martha, because Martha's stepping up to being admin for 2024. So thank you for taking the step up, Martha. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And a huge thank you to the lovely Carla, who has been adminning for 2023 and doing a bucket load of work. We really appreciate your work, Carla. And, you know, you can tell us later what you're looking forward to about not being an admin and being able to stitch again. So thank you so much. We really appreciate your efforts. I'm going to be the main admin for the road trip, and that's going to be continuing to be the main admin of the main group. And that, like always, will be working coexisting. And Martha will be our eyes and ears on the other side of the globe, which is great. Plus all our beautiful modmin team, but we've already introduced them, so more about that later. All right, let's wrap up 2023 in the road trip, Carla.
Okay, so I want everybody to just indulge me for a minute because Lisa said, can you put together some stats? So I did. I wrote some stuff up real quick, and if you indulge me a couple minutes, it was kind of walking down memory lane for me. So if you remember, Lisa and Nat, this road trip all started back in 2021 when we were No New Starts. We weren't WIP Warriors then, and we had a meeting and said we need a yearly event. And what was born but the road trip out of that. So it took about 6 months of researching and planning and figuring out how it would work to put it all together and get that itinerary together for our kickoff that was initially January of 2022. We had 220 members our first year. 147 of those traveled across the United States and visited 62 local needle workshops. Then our trip went from a 1 year to a 2 year because Carla searched too much and found way too many shops for us to go to. So the first year we only made the bottom half of the United States. And the second year we decided to get the top half of the United States and go back across. So in our second year, we invited more members. We ended up with 250 members that started. And out of those, 148 members visited 92 more shops in our second year of adventures. So that's a total of 154 shops, 12 campgrounds, 16 sightseeing events, a multitude of pop-ups, and what we fondly called our personal shenanigans that happened along the way. We published 100 travel bulletins with a plethora of nuggets to assist our travelers in their journey. Our itinerary was full of ways to take the ease out of the traveling, but you had to read to be able to take advantage of what was out there. So any recommendations I have for the new travelers going into 2024 is read the event, read your itineraries, because there is always something there to help you. You just have to read it. That was a really big thing. A lot of our travelers on our last leg was stitching for all of their purchases, and they were falling behind because they could have used their debit cards, but they didn't read it. The past 2 years, I got to say, from me and from the rest of the moderators that helped me in the traveling group, has been rewarding and challenging for our travelers and our team. So many of our travelers learned that I'm directionally challenged. We crisscrossed across the United States. And most of that was because I would get last minute travelers who would say, I really want us to go to my local shop. It's here. And we'd already gone past there. So sure, let's circle around, detour back, go back to Maryland, pick up 2 shops that we missed. So I'm really not all that directionally challenged. I'm just very accommodating to people that request things. So while we were doing our best to keep everybody moving, we also had an array of slow stitchers, fast stitchers, people that was stitching 200 a week versus somebody that was doing 20,000 in a month. It was crazy. And we jokingly said it was like wrangling cats to try and keep them all generally in the same area. So everybody had the same opportunities to participate in whatever popped up. If we were rescuing Mary Barbara from the tiger cage, or if we were trying to get raccoons out of people's campers, just whatever happened, we were trying to make sure everybody got the opportunity, because that's where you would earn tokens. So I am so glad I don't have to worry about that going into 2024. Good luck, Lisa. Our group, one of the things that happened with our group is we made a huge impact with our local needle shops. I had the opportunity to talk to some of the shop owners, and they told me of influx of their sales that coincided when our road trip was going through their area. So I thought that was amazing. And that was because our travelers were actually reaching out, whether it be a phone or online, to talk to the shops and get things sent to their homes, because many of them shipped out. And all of that was because of our travelers participating in supporting local shops. We had some of our travelers went in and videotaped and interviewed her shop owners and showed their local shops. I think Crystal herself did 5 shops for us and posted on our website. So it was amazing. She said she wanted to keep all her shops open. So the more she showed, the more people know that's out there. So this year, our road trippers had earned a grand total of 27,300 tokens this year. It was a very busy year for a lot of us, a lot of personal time being put in by the road trip team, from verifying travel, sweeping, shopping thread, checking camping, pop-up events over the past 2 years. We have all decided that we would take a step back in 2024 and allow our new team to be our travel agents while we get to travel with everyone and enjoy whatever is thrown our way in Australia. And I just wanted to thank everybody from all of us who has joined us in the past 2 years of our travels. You've made this adventure so much fun, and we have made so many friends that will long last beyond our road trip being an admin. So we're really excited that it was such a success that we're now going to Australia. So I can't wait to see what Lisa comes up with for the 2025, see where we're going.
Yes. Oh, there's lots of things.
So excited. It's kind of bittersweet, because we've kind of had this under our belts for the last 2 years, and now it's going to be sit back and let you guys take the reins, and we're going to be anxious to stitch and ride along.
That's really good. Well, thank you to the whole Modwin team. And as someone who was heavily involved in the first year, I'm taking the reins back, knowing full well what I'm heading into. I had the year off because I focused on the main group, but I actually really missed it. So I think you guys are going to have a little bit of withdrawal, but hopefully I'll be able to keep you busy enough that you'll be able to, band-aid that and get on with stuff. All right, well, let's finalize 2023 now that we've had all those wonderful stats from the road trip. And I'm going to pass back over to Natalie, who's going to be sharing her screen in a minute, I think.
Yes.
So what we've decided to do for the prizes, this is what we call the official end of year raffle. And for 2023, we said there'd be an end of year raffle. We've been sending out all those beautiful donations all year through the boutiques and things, whatever they've been called. What were they called, Carla?
The swap shop, I can't remember all of them. Trading Post.
The Emporium.
The Emporium.
Yeah, so that sort of thing. Anyway, we had little online shops that you could buy things, and congratulations to all the people who traded in their tokens and points towards getting some stuff that people had donated. Anything that we've got left over, Carla and I are going to be taking to local retreats and putting on the freebie table. So do not fear all your donations. If they didn't get sold, we'll find a new home. So thank you again so much. So we're not taking any donations of anything. And what we decided to do for the end of year raffle, because you were accumulating these raffle entries, is each of the admins, Carla, Nat and I, are contributing $25 gift card to an LNS of your choice. So there'll be 3 prizes drawn, and depending on where you live, you'll contact one of the admins and we will get you your money to spend on whatever you want to and support an LNS in the process. All right, Nat, over to you.
Thanks so much, Lisa, and thank you, Carla, as well. So what we are seeing here, please tell me, Lisa and Carla, when it comes up. There it is. I think it's there. Oh,
20 billion names.
Yep,
20 billion names.
Had a light explode in my kitchen, so that's fun.
Oh dear.
Okay, nothing is on fire, but that was a pop. Okay, so here we go. This is a spreadsheet of everybody who has earned an entry, who's earned multiple entries. You can see people's names in here, and it just kind of goes on and on and on. Something that everybody in the road trip has experienced is the joys of a randomizer, and I've got some randomizers going on here. We've got randomizer for rows and columns and 3 prizes a piece. So what I'm going to do, and it resets every time you click a key. So there we go. We've got, and I'm going to just type it out so that we can get all these numbers out. So it's going to change every time I hit enter, but we're starting at column 1, 39, 48. We'll get these coordinates out in a moment. 44.
Oh, I see it.
Oops.
Yep, so it changes the random every time.
Changes every time. Sorry, this is 92, 29, and 19.
All right, that's the official 3 winners. Woohoo.
These are the official 3 winners. So 39, column 39, row 48. So there's 39. What was it, 48?
48, yeah.
Yes. It's Peggy Gross-Renaud.
Peggy,
right.
Yay, congratulations,
I'll make a note.
Peggy.
I'll write them down for you.
Peggy is the green one. There we go. Okay. The next one, 4492. Oops, lost 44.
And 44.
And 92.
Right down the bottom.
Guess what? It's Sherry.
Sherry.
Oh, Sherry,
Yay.
congratulations.
Yeah,
Well done.
congratulations,
Because
Sherry.
all our lovely modmins who work so hard are eligible to be in the raffle drawings because they
That's
they deserve to
right.
participate as much as anyone else.
Absolutely.
29.19.
29.19. Whoop, too far.
Okay,
Sorry, made
too
a few
far.
people motion sick there.
29.
29.19. Libeth Doherty.
Libeth. And all
Libeth
those
Doherty.
people are so familiar. I've seen them traveling very well.
Yeah. And
Well,
really,
congratulations, guys.
congratulations, Peggy and
Sherry
and Libeth. We will reach out to you through the Facebook Messenger and get in touch with you.
All right, stop sharing that.
I will.
That's
There we go.
fantastic. So well done. So those people, I'm not sure where they are. 2 of them at least are in the United States. Yeah, so we'll reach out to you and let us know where you want us to get the gift card to you from. All right, now, Carla, you don't get to run away yet though, just because 2023 is done and you can now take your admin hat off and give it to Martha, who's currently wearing it. I can see she's got it on. Because
couldn't pass it off to better hands.
Yes.
Truly.
Okay, so in 2024, what stream are you going to be doing, Carla?
I am doing the SWE stream for sure. But I have really good plans.
Wait a second. I
Tell
just
us.
watched your WIP parade.
Tell us,
Did you see
Carla.
my WIP parade?
I did.
Over a 2-hour WIP parade, Carla has to
Yes.
do SWE. But I do have challenges.
Ah.
We lost Lisa.
She must have a little interruption happening there. That does happen. And what are you looking forward to in 2024 now that you're no longer admitting?
Stitching. I'm looking forward to stitching. A lot of stitching.
Mhm.
Even my husband says, you mean you'll be on your phone less and actually doing stitches on my Stargazer next year? Because that's the one he really wants me to finish. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that. And being surprised with the challenges. You know, it's fun coming up with the ideas, but I notice I have more fun being the recipient of those ideas. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And that's why we actually went through and purposely, Carla and I in the first year were the only ones who knew, and Natalie knew what was happening in the road trip as far as pop-ups and surprises. And sometimes we didn't know because Carla got more confident and started to just throw them at us without us knowing. But we purposely don't tell the Modmin team what's happening because we want them to have the ability to have a bit of fun as well and not know what's going to come at them as well. And what about you, Martha? What stream are you doing?
I wanted to do No New Starts for the 4th year, but there's a couple little things I wanted to do during the summertime, little small. So I had to do SWE. Otherwise, between now and the end of the year, I would have had to find a piece of fabric to put those little ones on. So even though I'm in the SWE stream, I really am just doing No New Starts again. I have some bigger ones I want to get finished.
Great goals.
And that's fantastic. And one of the things that you just mentioned there is about the doing things on different fabrics. Do you want to talk about that quickly, Nat?
Yeah, sure. We've had a couple of frequently asked questions, which I'll touch on right now. The first one is multi-part projects, and how we can accommodate those in the various streams, and how we treat multi-part projects may influence the way that you as stitchers will treat multi-part projects as part of your participation in a challenge. We call multi-part projects things like stitch-alongs, where it might be a calendar or an advent calendar or a series of like little mini stockings or ornaments where they clearly belong to each other. And if they were taken out of the context of each other, they wouldn't make sense. That is a multi-part project, and that is treated in this group as one single project, especially if it is stitched on the same piece of fabric. If it is a series of small pieces that are unrelated, you can still put them on the same piece of fabric, but you would be doing, and they would be treated as individual projects, and that would be a start and a finish. So if you were doing no new starts, you would say that you would need to basically be aware of everything that you are going to start on that one piece of fabric, and that would be a BAP potentially. And you can only claim it as a finish when the whole of that project is done. If you were doing SWIWI or 24 and 24, you would do what we've come to term as tissue boxing, where you start and you finish, and you just rotate that small project through and cycle it through. Super easy. So that's just something to bear in mind. We have also had questions about how we count stitches, and what counts as a stitch. So once up and once down is a half stitch. So think of a tent stitch or a single back stitch, or what else? That's a half stitch. So a full cross, twice up and twice down, is one stitch. A bead is one stitch. If you have things like Smyrna crosses where you go up and down 4 times, that is 2 stitches. So you think about the multiples of legs in a fancy stitch, and that is how you, and if there are multiples of 2, then you divide by 2, and that's how many stitches there are of that. I hope I haven't confused too many people.
And the other thing is that we, in all of the WIP Warriors for 2024 events, the general observation is that you can count or do the equivalent in time. And we did spell out in the rules what that time comparison is. It's basically, we average it out 100 stitches an hour just to make it even between the fast and the slow stitches. So you can do time, or you can count stitches mostly. There is one exception that I know of at the moment, which is beat the mod min. You have to count for beat the mod min. But if we say you have to do one or the other, it will be spelt out in the event rules. But if it doesn't say, you can do either, right? We're trying to be accommodating. We want you to work on your WIPs. So either is fine. The other questions we've had in relation to this general stuff is about the sizes of your WIPs. We've been counting the sizes of our WIPs as small, medium, BAPs, whatever, for the last 2 years. It actually doesn't matter in 2024. It's not going to make any difference, but some people still like to know what their size is, because, hey, it's exciting to say, I finished a BAP or I finished a large. It makes no difference whatsoever to us from an admin perspective, but if you want to, you add up the sides, the side and the base. So you got 100 by 100, that's 200. You divide it by 2 and it's 100. That's the generic way of counting it. You can Google it to find out how. We haven't put the instructions up because it's not actually relevant to what we're doing this year. But if you still want to have it in your album, go for it. Knock yourself out. It's great to know, the achievement.
It's very interesting. It's been enlightening for me. I've learned a lot about my stitching in the last 3 years of being in the group. And that was very enlightening to me, that I really do gravitate to some big projects more so than the smalls. I finished the smalls, but I have a slew of big ones.
You sure do, Carla. You sure do. Now on that, the album is an option this year. You do not have to have an album in the main WIP Warriors group, but a lot of people like to have the album because it shows them their progress. And like Carla said, it's very enlightening. At the end of the year, to look back at your start photo and go, oh, wow, I have actually done quite a bit on this one. So we thoroughly recommend you have an album. We thoroughly recommend you post an update photo as a reply to your photo every month or so when you worked on it, so that you can have that motivation to keep yourself going. The only reason you would need an album from an admin perspective is if you were someone who for some reason did not want to participate in any of our events and you just want to show the 1,500 stitches a month progress. Then that's fine. We will still every couple of months go, hey, who wants their album checked? It's purely for those like 5 to 10 people who just want to have the progress in their album as they're part of being in the group. So everyone else, you don't have to. It's not compulsory in the main road trip, in the main WIP Warriors group. Okay, so let's move on to
Lisa. On that, Lisa, if you have an album right now for 2023 and you are leaving, please delete that album. And if you are staying, please update that album. We will be going through at the end of the year, before we get started in our holiday time, and deleting the albums that haven't been updated, because believe it or not, they do actually use up a lot of space, and there is a bit of a limit.
You can
the groups.
update your album. It can be your existing album, or you can delete your existing one and make a new one. We don't care. You're allowed one album each and call it 2024 Lisa Lane 2424.
Yep.
Okay. So what are we doing for next year as far as prizes? Postage is astronomical. It is so expensive. It is so time consuming. Carla will tell you, as the Postmaster General for the past 2 years, we are not posting any prizes in 2024. Carla has hung up her postage hat, and I've hung up my postage hat. Gone with those prizes. And Natalie and I were brainstorming, and we were brainstorming away, thinking about different things, and sitting next to me was my beautiful Notions box. So what did we do with the Notions box, Nat?
Well, we utilised the fact that one of our admins is also a designer. And I asked Lisa, do you think that people might like to stitch their Notion box as a symbol of their achievements? So we go on.
We ran with that. And it came about because we were originally talking about, we're not doing raffles, so we don't need raffle entries. We don't need points. And we were tossing up names of things, and the word bobbins came to mind. And bobbins, and I thought, bobbins, ooh. So here is the box that you are going to have the ability, a free stitch along for members of WIP Warriors. And up this side here, there are 12 bobbins. And the idea is that if you do your minimum stitching requirement for the month to be a participant in the group, because that's all we ask, is that you be an active participant, I'm going to give you a colour at the end of each month, and you can stitch in each bobbin for each month so that you'll have the 12 bobbins coloured to be for the year. However, you need more than that, because life is just too exciting, and I just realised I have to dig up the photo. So basically what we've decided is your base point system is threads, because you wrap threads around the bobbin, don't you? So every time you participate, you will earn thread. And the number of threads you get, you will then be able to cash in on Notions for your Notions box. So here is the actual mock-up of the finished Notions box to give you an idea. So the idea is that, I'm really proud of it. So the idea is that as you do different things during the year, you might be able to trade in your threads to get a needle threader, or a pair of scissors, or a thimble. So there'll be notices coming up saying, hey, anyone who's got this many threads, you can now upgrade, and we'll let you know. We'll tag you in the post, and then you have the ability to go to the files where I will post the files, and you can then get the scissors bit off, and you can stitch your scissors once I've told you can. Down the bottom, you've got some big items: glasses, tomatoes, tape measures. Certain parts of this are only going to be available for certain events. So you've got to keep your eyes open for that. And the most exciting thing is along the bottom of the lid, can you see all those beautiful coloured buttons? Buttons are your bigger currency than threads. So anytime you participate and a modmin thinks you've done a particularly good effort, so for example, you might have done all 12 categories and got all 12 categories in January, then Sandra, who's running categories next year, will allocate you a particular coloured button. And then you have the ability to stitch your coloured button onto your chart. So that's what we are. What do you think, Carla?
That's interesting. That'll be fun.
Yes.
That's
so
different. Definitely different.
It's definitely different. You basically, your reward for participating is a free stitch along that you don't have to do anything for. And it's done on the honesty system, because obviously once I post each part of the pattern, it's going to be there for everyone to see. But if you actually want to reward yourself for your efforts and do it properly, then when you earn scissors, stitch the scissors. Because it's a SAL, we have the SAL event in the last week of each month. So what a perfect time to catch up your buttons and threads and scissors and whatever's notions for each month. You can catch up where you're up to by then in the SAL event. You can jump on and show people, because everyone's notion box is going to be different. Mine won't even look like my model because it's different. And what I want you to do, though, is not only are we working your WIPs, this is an 8x11 Q snap, and I've done it on 32 count even weave. So even if you're on 28 or 14 count, it will fit into a fat 16th of fabric. I want you to go to your stash and find yourself a fat 16th of any colour that you've got, any little, bit of fabric that's too small to do much else on, and you can start stitching your frame on that. It's just using black DNC, but you can do whatever colour you like. And I used a cottage garden variegated in my coloured bit to show the portion of the box. So you can decorate it. You can use whatever colour you want, but I want you to use what you've got in your stash. It's not about you spending money. It's about you rewarding yourself. And I'm sure everybody has it. But if you need to go and buy one, as I said, it's basically a quarter of a fat quarter. So it's a fat 16th is all you're going to need. It fits in there. You're going to be able to do stuff in the box like I showed you. Plus, you're going to be able to fill up the space around it too. So it's going to be a choose your own adventure, basically. And the modmin is going to have great fun giving out threads and buttons, and you're going to be able to do what you want. So yeah, we're really excited. And you've got some good news about it.
Yeah, so it is a bonus for people who are doing the no new starts. This is your bonus.
And 24 and 24, you are allowed to use this as number 25. You don't have to now throw away one of your 24 that you've worked out. We will let you stitch on this. You can stitch on it for any of the events and things. So you can start stitching your frame. Once I get off this meeting, I'm going to pop the frame up. So by the time you see this video, it'll be appearing. And you'll then be able to start stitching it. If you've got your fabric and threads ready, you can use it for any of the Christmas events. It counts as stitching, and there's only full stitches on it. So it works beautifully on Ada as well as linen and even weave. And yeah, so 24 and 24, you're allowed to have this as number 25 if you need to. However, if you're really good and you can make it one of your 24, then that's better for you. But you are allowed to. There's no penalty for it. If you are in no new starts, you do have time to stitch your frame before the end of the year, get 200 stitches on it. And on that, can I please remind you, every single start you guys have during the year must have 200 stitches on it in the first stitching session. In other words, before you change to another project, you must have 200 stitches on it. Then you can move on to another project. So that is one of our rules for being, a WIP. But no new start people, if you've got a hectic Christmas schedule and you can't get it done, that's fine. We'll let you stitch it, at the beginning if you need to. All right, so I think that's all we need to do about the prize. So now the people who've actually read things on the road trip and have read what threads and buttons are, now you know what threads and buttons are. They are your prize currency. So you would earn threads for every bit of participation. You might earn 1, you might earn 10. Don't know yet. It'll depend on the modmin and stuff. But you'll earn threads for participating. And then when you've got a certain number of threads, you'll be able to trade them in for bigger notions to put on your notions box. An exclusive stitch along just for WIP Warriors.
That's brilliant. I love it. Lisa,
road trip.
let's talk about road trip.
Okay, guys. So road trip, as Carla has alluded to, we are going to Australia. But we are currently sitting, most of us, in the airport at Reno in California, is it?
Nevada. Mm-hmm.
Nevada? Okay. So we're in the southwestern corner of the United States. And we've got to get from there to Australia. It's a long way. So what we're going to do, though, we still haven't done two of the states in America. So we are going to go on a cruise to get ourselves down to Sydney. It's a cruise that I want to do in a few years' time as a Stitchy cruise in person, actually going. So I have looked up the cruises and I have taken the itineraries that I liked, and we are actually going to emulate those itineraries by going on a cruise. It's a transition preparation event. You don't have to do it, but it is an option. It starts, well, I'm actually going to let you start preparation as soon as this video goes up. Everybody who wants to come on the cruise has to stitch their passport and they have to buy a ticket for a room. Pick the room that suits your stitching style, not your lifestyle. So if you are not a big stitcher, do not try and stitch a suite. I put on the instructions. You should be aiming for 2 days worth of stitching to pay for your passport. You should be aiming for 3 days of stitching to get your room. So, you know, you might be like me on the holidays and you can get through 3 days stitching in 1 day at the moment. That's fine. But you want to pick the one that is your general stitching ability, because then you're going to land yourself in the right level to not fall behind and not fall ahead. As Carla said, it was wrangling cats. We know where you should be. We don't know all the new people. So use your own knowledge of you. Follow the stitch count guides. If that's what you do in a week, pick that one. Okay? Sorry if it means you've got a crappy internal room. It's not going to matter. It's imaginary. You can decorate your room however you want in your brain. You can make it as beautiful as you want. All right? Stitch what you can stitch. So after this gets published, you will be able to start stitching for your passport and for your room ticket. If you got to the end, Carla gave you a free flight to get to Seattle, which is where we're going from. So you can post your free flight, and my sample post has that there because I earned it. If you did not earn it because you haven't actually finished Carla's road trip in America, then you're going to have to stitch your way to get there. So those things you can start now. I will drop the itinerary for the Alaska cruise on the 20th. And then we will follow that for the next few days, and it comes back to Seattle. That's over the Christmas period. So if you have a crazy Christmas period with your family, then that's okay. You don't have to do it. You can jump back on the 30th, and you can get on the boat in Seattle and head down through Hawaii to get to Australia. That's going to take us the best part of a month to do. It's a long trip. So you can get on then and join it. So the 30th is your next choice to get onto the road trip. But you have to have a ticket and a passport before you can actually travel on the road trip. So you still have to stitch then. If you are someone who just goes, oh my goodness, it's summer holidays in Australia and life is just too crazy and I'm not going to get any stitching done and I don't want to do anything, you don't have to. It's optional. You will need to get a passport and you will need to stitch your ride, which I will be talking about while we're on the leg to Australia. So you will have to do those two things, and you can jump on and join us when we land in Australia on the 26th of January. All right, so that's the clarification. It's not compulsory that you go on the cruise, but it is compulsory that you get a passport, and you will end up stitching your ride before you can travel in Australia. Like Carla, I have done the whole itinerary pretty much for the whole of Australia. There are at the moment 10 legs, which is about the same as what you had, Carla. So we're looking at least 2 years of traveling around Australia.
Cool.
And that's very exciting. But we are visiting LNSs. We have, I think, 8.
No, there's a few more than that. But yeah, we're still plotting them in.
But there's really, like, how many did you have, Carla?
154.
Right. So we're nowhere near that. Like, okay, there's maybe 10, 15 at the most. There's a couple of online ones we're going to throw in and stuff. So we couldn't make going to the LNSs the main focus, although we are going to visit all the LNSs because that's what we want to do. We're stitchers. So what we're doing is we're going to be visiting something that Australia is very well known for, and that is big things. And Natalie and I told you that in our previous road tripping videos. So there's a whole bunch of big things around Australia. And there's also this fantastic thing called silo art. The grain silos have got beautiful artworks painted on them. So we are actually going to be stopping at every silo art and every big thing that we could fit into our route around Australia. So you're going to learn a lot about Australia as you're going around. And what's going to happen then is you're going to be shopping for souvenirs. So there's 20 souvenirs on the list. And as you are shopping, you are going to buy, you're going to same method as we've done with the road trip so far. You're going to comment on the shopping post. You're going to get a random wheel spun for you, and it'll say, you've got number 3, a T-shirt, 200 stitches. I'm making that up at the moment. It's not in front of me. And then you put that in your post and you stitch your 200 stitches for your T-shirt and off you go. Same as before. You don't have to wait till that is spun, but our modmins, we've got 1 in Europe, 2 in Australia, and 1 in America. So we're endeavouring to have it checked at least once a day. So you should be able to come back the next day and see what you've done. And don't leave it there too long, because what happens, Carla, when you leave your shopping there too long?
It goes back on the shelf and you don't get it.
Exactly. So you've got
Out of your
3 days.
inventory.
Yep, that's right. So the road trip's going to happen the same way, same function. You just won't know what the twists and turns are. And as Natalie and I have been saying on numerous comments and questions, it will make sense when it gets revealed. We do not want to bombard you with more than we need to at the moment. There's so much information out there. We've been finishing up 23, starting 24. Just step back, take a chill. All you need to do in the road trip is set yourself up an album. Put what you think your ride's going to be based on the number of stitches you do in a week. And that's where you can start to collect your badges and your threads and your whatever else. Okay? Then follow the featured, click on featured on Facebook. There's step 1, step 2. By the time you've done them, I will have posted the itinerary for the Alaskan cruise, and those who want to join us can come to Alaska and have a fun cruise. And it will all start to make sense. What have I forgotten? Anything, Martha?
I don't think so.
I'll tag on something though, just for general knowledge for your groups, is Facebook is the platform. The admins and moderators have nothing to do whether a notification comes through to you or not. So if you post in the shopping thread, come back and look at it for yourself. Don't rely on notifications, because Facebook does not always send them, and we don't know that it hasn't gone, because on our end, it looks like you were tagged. So that was a common, oh, I didn't know it was there. I'm sorry, I didn't know it was there. So I'm just going to put it out there to make sure it's your onus to come back and check. That was a frustrating part for us, just because stuff would sit there and the check-ins get so long with so many people that it gets buried, and then you can't find it. So we don't want that. I say that, also, but I'm not in the group for 2024. My hat has been removed.
No, but it's a really good point, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because it's not just in the road trip. Anytime we post anything that's important, we will pin it in the featured. So get to the habit of clicking on the featured and checking the most recent featured. Carla did a great job with her road trip nuggets and doing that. So you need to, it's your job to keep up with that. It's not ours. And if Facebook glitches like it does all the time, we can't fix it. You're just going to have to wait till it fixes it. If you're having a problem and Facebook's glitching and you need to post something or whatever, reach out in your chat, and the modmin in your chat we'll work out a workaround for you. But sometimes it's just a matter of waiting a couple of days till Facebook fixes up its glitches. We don't control that.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited.
Oh, there is one. There is one more.
Yep.
Don't forget to save your albums and your posts. I actually have 2. I have usually a WIP Warriors, and I have a WIP Warriors Road Trip. So I save them in the ones they correspond to, so you can always get back to them.
Great tip. Great tip.
And the last thing I want to say before Nat finishes is we find it much easier to answer questions and help people out in person. We have got the WIP Warriors Zoom room. It's open 24/7, but there's not necessarily one of us on 24/7. But if you reach out in your chat group, we can probably arrange for someone who's around at that time to jump on and help you. It's so much easier to talk than type. Plus, we are going to offer in the next couple of days some times that we know we will be manned. So you jump on, have a chat, meet fellow stitchers and ask questions. Nat?
It's gone.
Oh, sorry.
I do know that Facebook albums are glitching at the moment. Again, like Lisa said, it's nothing that we can do. If it's not working on your Android, your Samsung, try logging on from your laptop. Try logging on using different devices. If you're having trouble going through it through the app, try just going in through Google Chrome or something like that through the website. There are ways to work around some of these issues. And yeah, if you find that you have discovered a workaround because of an issue that you've found, share it, please, because it's quite likely that somebody else is struggling. So, yes.
All right. I think that's enough info, guys. Thank you again so much, Carla and Martha and Nat, for jumping onto this admin. First time we've had 4 admins on a chat together. But we thought it was important that we said thank you to Carla in person, and we also welcomed Martha officially so that you know the face to go with the name. Because if Nat, Martha, or I tell you something, it's coming from an admin as an admin directive, and you need to follow it because we know the big picture. And we try and work and be helpful, but there's only so much we can do for certain things. So we're looking forward to an exciting year. It's kicking off pretty much straight away. As I said, you're going to be able to go and get the frame for your new exclusive Notions box pattern. It took me a bit of stitching. In fact, I can tell you how many stitches it took me to do. So you might want to get started on it. 1,673 stitches. Just so you know.
Not too bad. That's not too bad.
It's not too bad, but that gets you the whole box. Yeah, what I would suggest, if you want to start with this bottom part because it's the widest part. I actually did that. You can see my corner here. So I counted across to the corner and I started stitching there, which is why it's not center in the frame. And then you can work your way up because you're not going to need to do anything up here for a little while. But if you are participating in the Christmas events, you might want to have the bottom done. That's just making. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Yes, all the secrets are coming out today. Enjoy. Come join us on Zoom. Nat will pop the link up again, although it is in the featured with a big clock that says Zoom time or something. So come and join us. Thanks, guys.
Bye.